You're live.
Well, here we are.
Here we are. All right. I knew I was going to be a bit loud. All right. Let me turn myself down a little bit. All right. Joe, could you talk
so
for me?
loud.
I
Yeah,
know.
I can talk. I'm good at talking
Okay.
sometimes.
Okay. There we go. I think this is way better.
We get it?
I think so.
Yay, we got it.
Am I really
Yes.
quiet to you guys, though?
You're,
You know what I'm going
quiet
to
to
do?
me.
I'm going to... You're not? I'm not? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn myself...
I'm gonna
I'm going to do
turn-
this. All right. There we go. All right. I think we're good. Go ahead and talk.
Whoa.
You need to boost. Hold on. Let me boost you up.
Whoa. I need a
Okay.
boost?
Yeah. But we're good. I think we're good now.
Hey, it's just how this goes. I feel short. Hold on, let me fix that. No, I feel tall.
You feel short?
Yeah.
Well, I want to feel tall. Hold on.
Because I was like this. I was like, hey, guys.
Oh, that looks good. I like this. Makes me feel happy. No, just
Welcome to No Worry Wednesday. I'm your host.
wow. And I'm the tall guy. I'm really tall. So I don't even fit on the screen. That's how tall I am.
Where's the pot of gold?
Where's the pot of gold?
Where's me Lucky Charms? Oh, welcome everybody. It's No Worry Wednesday edition.
That's
we
right.
are here. We made it. We're so excited. We do not have Jesse with us tonight, so it took us a little bit to get things figured out, situated, and everything. But Ryan, who not only is the star of our show tonight, he's also a producer. So that's pretty outstanding. I mean, so you look at him over there, he's like hard at work. He's doing stuff. Yeah, look at that. All over. He's all over it. It's awesome. Yes.
You're all over.
Princess is helping us out. Senna, I believe, is here somewhere. Senna, are you here? I don't know, maybe. Find out.
Perhaps.
Should be like, hey, if she is. If she's not, she won't. But
If she's
anyway.
not, she won't say hey because she can't.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, yes, Josephitz, yes, we saw you this morning on Double Cup of Joe. It was great to see you. And saw others of you too. Tef, you were there. Akil was there. We had some other folks there too. Static was there. It was great. We had a really fun time. I hope you guys have fun with us. Joe and I always have a good time on that show. Just having some laughs and talking about some fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I got to see some people there too. That was great.
yeah. Yep, but now we're on Don't Worry Wednesday. This is a show where we handle any issues, challenges, topics, anything that you might be going through in your life. And feel free to just post it in the chat, or you can drop it on our website, bss.studio. You can send us an email, dww@bss.studio, or you can find us on Discord. Yeah, really fun time. We're there. Ryan and I are both there. I'm there more than I used to be. We're there. Ryan and I are both. I didn't used to be there. It used to be just crazy trying to direct message me on Discord, because I'd get it like 4 months later, and
Yeah.
and I'd be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then you'd be like, yeah. You are
Who
not
are
on
you?
top of it. Yes. Tef, yeah. Hey, and that's one of the reasons why we did the show in the morning there. Well, it's morning for us. It's lunchtime for you. But we just wanted to give more opportunities for people to come and hang out, We're going to be with you guys. It's a lot of fun. So, but anyway, Kendra's computer isn't working. Akil says there's an echo. There's a screen twirl. The internet is having an earthquake. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Oh, is Ryan reviewing the stream footage?
Yeah, it was me looking real quick to see if everything was all right and clean on the end, making sure that it wasn't lagging and stuff.
And it worked?
Yep.
You did good?
Yep.
You did good? Good. So welcome, everybody. It's great to see you. Ryan, how are you today?
Doing great, thanks. Fantastic.
You look great.
Yourself? Thanks.
I'm wonderful. Senna, there she is. Hi, Senna. Jojo.
Nice to see you.
Snowlock. Yes. So awesome sauce. We got a whole crew here. So anyway, we got some topics.
Yeah,
So
we
I'm
do.
gonna we do, and we got a bunch of you here. So I'm going to list off a bunch of names. You can say what's up with your mama that, like normal, which is something you always say
Yeah,
in
there's something you
general.
usually say every week,
You
a
know,
couple times a week.
most of us usually say something like "What's up with your mama that" all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of how that goes. So if you hear your name, just yeah, let us know, and we'll be happy to do your topic. So here's the list: Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Rain Knight, Mark Anthony, Akil, Jehoshaphat, Man Left Behind again. Hey, look at that. And Natsukashi. And it looks like I see at least 3 of you in here. Yeah, drop a what's up with your mama at. Jehoshaphat says moo.
Moo.
Jehoshaphat.
Clever. Thanks, Jehoshaphat. Moo
Yes,
is always
I always
welcome
want to
here.
call you Jehoshaphat because I see that hot right in the middle of it. It's
That's because
ooh,
he's so
that's
hot.
hot.
Yep,
Hotness.
it makes sense.
The hotness. And I think you
Is the
live
hotness.
someplace warmer than Michigan, if I remember. But there's most places.
Most places are warmer than Michigan, so it's a fair. I think you. Okay, if I remember correctly, now I might have your city wrong, but I think you live somewhere outside of Africa, and somewhere warmer than North Antarctica.
That's right.
Is that correct?
It's Georgia. It's Georgia.
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 Nice.
Yeah, where people are classy. That's the classy southern state.
Georgia.
Yeah. So near Athens. Nice. All right. Well, cool.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we've got Akil, we've got Jehoshaphat, we've got Man Left Behind. Do we have Man Left Behind here?
Wait, really?
Maybe not.
Okay.
So if you go by a different name, Man Left Behind, in the YouTube, you let us know.
Yeah.
But you got 2 topics here. One of them you just posted like today. So yeah, we'd love to.
Yeah, there's another one from Man Left Behind, but we haven't had Man Left Behind in here for a while, so.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe they
That's
do have a
pretty
different
wild.
YouTube name.
Pretty wild. So anyway, just let us know if that's the case, and we will start with Akil's. Akil actually left us a link to a video on his post. And I got to watch it. I watched it during the week, and I watched it again today. Akil, thank you for that. It was really cool to get to see your face, hear your voice, and I believe Princess did some transcribing of what you had said. So I will read it for you. And okay, it says transcription in progress. So, and I got the basic gist of it from watching it a couple times. So I really appreciate it, Akil. Thank you for that. But anyway, here it goes. This is called Recorded Future. And it says, all right, hello, listeners. It's me, Akil Mukashim. Or you can just call me Akil most of the time because you'll probably butcher my last name, which is true. Like, I found out when you said that, when you said your name in the video, I was like, that's how you say that? Wow.
Yeah, when you said in the video, I was like, sorry, what was that? I thought you were going to speak English there, and that was not English. Hold on, let me go back. Oh, that's your name. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to say that.
So you have an awesome name. Oh, and Akil says I was sleep deprived. Sorry if it didn't make any sense. No, it's just that we're kind of dumb Americans and we have a hard time pronouncing that stuff. So. Not that all Americans are dumb, just us.
Just us, yes.
Just us, and by us I mean me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me.
So, but all right. The reason I made this video is because I wanted to do something unscripted, something that I'm fully bad at for a lot of them. Here comes so yeah, you probably know me by my words, probably know my other alias, which is Quill. I'm writing this in English. However, when it comes to talking, I'm either a rapid fire rapper or a very shy person who stutters every 5 words. The thing is, I don't know what to look forward to in the future. A quick rundown of my history right now. Basically, I graduated high school, lost far too many people, got involved into something illegal. All of that is before I was enrolled into my first university. As you can expect, it doesn't really work well to get into debt. At first, the first semester was great, but then we kept committing, and I was just in quite a pickle back then. And my priorities ended up falling on both of the things, failing on both of the things I was trying to focus on, which is one, helping people, and two, finding a proper ambition. And that is how I ended up ending my engineering studies. I just couldn't keep up. It was affecting my health, and even my family got worried. The one thing I kind of wanted to do, actually, but I was blessed they have been really supportive of me. So we discussed, and I got a grace period of 1 year. I can go back to studying, and I was catching every stream on Wednesdays. So I was inspired to actually start everything again. I even got involved in a new community, which is the BSS community, a virtual community where people actually do fun things together. Pretty inspiring. Why is the mustache villainous? Anyways, you have the
Yeah.
villainous mustache. Anyways, what I'm doing right now is public administration, which I would basically say is managing everything a government needs to do. When it comes down to quarantine, we didn't just shut down the hospital so that the stations still run, that everything still runs. That's our duty. Oh, VTubing community. That's our duty. We don't make promises, we execute the needs. So yeah, it's been going great so far. But then 2020 hits, and all of us, our lives will probably be changed forever. So my involvement with the Giving Committee actually got me inspired to actually start my own kind of channel, which is supposed to be an educational series about me recording my duties on public administration students. I'm actually looking forward to working because when I start to build my connections that I'm trying to make, and it's actually really supportive. The thing is, the whole drop down situation is I kind of wish I could do more. Like I only met a small handful before we all got separated. And Princess is done transcribing at the moment. She's transcription in progress.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the end of your post there, at the end of your video, you said something about you just don't know where to go from here. You're pondering these things, and we're in upheaval right now, for sure.
Yeah.
All around the world. It's crazy time. But I was very, very encouraged to hear that you're starting YouTube, you're starting to, broadcast yourself to the world, because I think that's a super important thing. I mean, you said that it's something you're not very good at, which, I would beg to differ, but I think everybody starts where they start, and it takes time and practice to polish and just get better and everything like that. And so in about 10 years, I'm going to be great at this. That's my goal anyway. So, but we got a ways to go. So anyway, with that, I want to say thanks, Akil. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for posting, and thanks for putting it in video form. That was a really, really cool thing. It was very unique, and it was fun to watch, and I really appreciate that. So I will turn it over to Ryan and get Ryan's thoughts on this.
Sure. Thanks, Joe, and yeah, thank you, Akil. I appreciate you putting this out for us. I enjoyed watching the video that you had, to see your facial expressions and all that kind of stuff. It's a really cool experience, and so I just appreciate you. You're amazing. Also, you're a good-looking guy. I like your villainous mustache. It's very nice. One thing you had also mentioned is that due to some, I don't know if it's drama, but some situation, your group kind of split up, and so right now everything's kind of in the air. So yeah, it's kind of like Joe said, these times are interesting. We've never we've never experienced a time exactly like this in our lifetime. It's new. People haven't experienced this in a very, very long time. Um, Government being shut down and things like that across the world due to virus or some kind of epidemic. It's never happened before. And so things are really weird right now. Um, and so it's sad that because of this, it's hard to, you know, in some ways you'd think it'd be easier to maintain contact with people because of this. It's like, hey, none of us are working. None of us can go to school. We all have more time. But it feels like we all don't have more time. It feels like, I think to a lot of people, that it's just like, no, it's just that now I'm doing the same things in a different way. And that's making it take more time than it used to. Most of us are still doing something like school. But now you're doing school online, which is, instead of it taking an hour to go to class, now you have to do the whole class yourself, which takes 2 hours, and then do the homework, stuff like that. It was way more draining to be online lately, you said. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting the way that, because we're all stuck in this environment and our main communication is online, I think it's caused a lot of people to feel like being online is even more draining than usual. Just because you're on it all the time, you know? That's where we make all of our communication. What would be really refreshing is to actually talk to somebody in real life and just have an open conversation face to face. And I think that's one thing I appreciate about your video, is your video kind of does that a little bit, It's a little bit more face to face. It's more human. The conversation isn't run through someone typing something and then reading it. It's not just words that are audible, but also facial expressions as well. So maybe one thing that'll freshen it up for you, Akil, is to do some face time with people. Even if it's online, you can turn on your webcam and have them turn their webcam on and talk. A lot of people aren't willing to do that, but you might find some that are, and that could be refreshing. But that's just one idea. So yeah, where do you go right now with all of this stuff going on? What do you do to make new connections, especially in your area and things like that? These are really interesting questions, and I'm not quite sure how to answer them because I've never done this before. We've never had to encounter this before. All we can do is throw ideas back and forth. Obviously, I don't know how your country is right now for the lockdown and stuff like that. How if you're allowed to go outside, or what jobs are allowed to be worked and things like that. I really like the idea of kind of cataloging your process of working and YouTubing it. I think that's really cool. Right now it's kind of shut off because of the whole thing kind of just being shut down, the whole government and stuff like that. But I think what you should do is try to remember, you're talking about those the VTubing community and whatever other communities are available that you were in. One thing that I would do if I were you is start calling people on the phone. If you have their phone number, and if not, get their phone number, or get their information, their email, or whatever. Start emailing. Start opening up those communication lines, and spending time with those people, because one, that's going to continue to inspire you. It's going to make you feel like running. Because here's the thing. I mean, we've talked about this many times before, but if you get around a group of people that are trying to move forward, you're going to get inspired to start moving forward yourself. They are going to inspire you. And if you are one of those people that's trying to move forward and you get around a bunch of other people, you're going to start inspiring them. So what I would do if I were you is, if you're at this position where you're like, I don't know what to do right now, what should I be doing? I want to move forward, but I don't know what to do. Like, I don't even know what inspires me. I don't know what makes me excited. Get around more people trying to do something, and something will stick out, something that they're doing or something similar to what they're doing or something maybe even unrelated. But here's what happens. When you get around those people, your brain kind of does a shift, and your brain starts looking into the future and saying, what can I do, what can I do? And it starts kind of screening things, sifting through things, specifically looking for opportunity. And it takes opportunity into a light of like, hey, I can do this. This is something I can do to bring joy to the world or bring something to the world, right? So getting around those people is important. Opening up those communications, calling them on the phone. Even if right now things are in a bit of an iffy situation because of certain members doing something, I don't know what it was, but just reconnecting with all sides is okay. You know, you don't have to pick a side because you're a human. They're humans, you know? And so when things like this happen, when people separate, when groups separate out, sometimes, actually a lot of times what happens is you get a group of people that get all, it's weird. Human beings start to get excited when they have a prospect of rebellion. Human beings can also get excited when they see another group of people that used to be attached doing bad things and then they get rid of them. It's weird. I used to be a part of a business that I considered to be one of the most respectful businesses to ever exist. You had, like, it's part of the business. It's the business that Joe and I met through, or he invited me into, and then we ran with. And is a leadership development business, and we learned all sorts of different things from them, all sorts of different wisdom, and it was really, really wonderful experience. But even in that, like at certain times, certain groups would fade away. They would split off. And there would be like this slight drama, and there's this feeling in the air of excitement when that kind of stuff happens, and it's wrong. Because we have to take a step back when we start to feel that and go, wait, these people are human beings. We shouldn't be excited over our issues of difference, about triumphing over one another, about pointing out the flaws in another person, right? So the best thing you can do when that type of shift happens is to not pick a side, but pick the people, pick the human, you know, and pick everybody. You know what I mean? Because if you go into a situation where you have friends that are kind of at odds, instead of trying to pick a side and go, oh, you're right, dude, and this person's wrong, like, because it could be clear as day. But instead of doing that, you just meet with the people and just say, hey, we're friends, period. You know? What that does is that continues the relationship. It's tactical, but it's also just the right thing to do. Because then you don't start to encourage the flame that is the whole concept of like, oh, we're better than them, we're doing the right thing, or hey, we're gonna rise up and defeat them because we're the rebellion, you know? Even though that stuff is cool, like in the right scenario, it's a good thing to have that sort of rebellious nature that can inspire you. It's a good thing, but in some cases it's not. And so when we recognize, okay, this isn't going to be helpful to anybody if you act like that, you know, then it's appropriate to step in and try to be their friend and kind of connect the group. Not connect the group. Well, a good thing you can do, and I found this to be true, especially in religion. And you know, religion, Akil, you would know, is one of those things where people get really intense. Like, it's my way or the highway. And yet, you know what? We found through over the years, we all have things in common. And if we can talk about those things we have in common, we can reconnect and we can start to work together again. Right? And that's the important part. Because we have, a lot of times, the things that we have in common are the good things. Like the things that like we can do the most with. So, I know I kind of went on a tangent, but ultimately you're kind of like, I don't know what to do right now. I would say one thing you can do is try to reconnect that group together. They might never connect back, okay? But to continue to inspire them on their journeys will help you to be inspired to go on yours. To continue to be their friends instead of worrying about the whole drama and not looking bad, or like I don't want to intervene. I don't want to go in there and then, get caught up in it. Like, I understand that, but it's better to get caught up in it and get frowned, like looked at as if like you're some kind of enemy. It's better to do that than to sit by and watch it just explode when you could possibly have saved it, right? I mean, that's the truth. Because that's usually what happens. If no one comes in to be the guy that says, hey, hold on, like, guys, like, let's try to make the best of this rather than the worst. Until someone comes in, everyone's going to be at odds with each other. Everyone's going to be, kind of like, let's just not talk. No, these guys are wrong. We're right, But once someone comes in and says, hey, guys, from both angles, let's try to make the best of this. Like, the best that we can possibly make this. Because we're going to have differences in opinions, and we're going to do stupid things. We're going to cause drama from time to time. We're people. We're human beings. If you can come in with that approach, a lot of times what you'll find is that people start putting their differences aside so that they can accomplish what's better in life. Sometimes you have to, sacrifice what's good to get what's great. And people come to realize that. So, you said, I live in a country that managed to practice just that. Yes, I know. I mentioned before the significance it brings. For sure. I know a young girl. Her name is Miffy. She's a spectacular person. She comes from the same place as you do. And yeah, she was talking about the same thing. How your country has kind of adapted to all the different religions and has really flourished through doing that. By taking more of a stance of like, hey, you can be whatever religion you want. Yeah, the artist. Yep. And so, yeah, I think that's a great position, and it's an important one, even to do outside of our government, but to do inside of our individual lives, and to be that person that comes forward and says, hey, you know what? We can be respectful here, and I would love to hear what all of your opinions are. Not so that I can pick a side and tell you who's right and who's wrong, but so that I can help figure out how to make this situation into the best it possibly can be. Because I know we all just want to keep on moving forward, don't we? Mm-hmm. And so, if I can help you guys be friends again, that could change everything. That could make everything work. That could make things go farther than we ever expected. In any friendship, there's gonna be discourse. And it's through that we start to recognize it doesn't matter how many times I fail, this person still is with me. Wow. I trust that person with my life. That's kind of how we are as human beings. That's what we have to go through. Every time we break down in front of somebody, but then they still love us, it's like we can't help but respect them, and to be that person for them. I think that's important. But anyways, I've talked for a while, hopefully about things that are relevant. Akil. But yeah, I'm going to give it over to Joe, and I hope that helps to some degree.
Well, thanks, Ryan, and thank you, Akil, again for the post. And it was really I can't tell you how excited I was to see you, and to hear you talk and to see a video that you posted. I don't know, it was pretty simple, it was you talking, but that's perfect because that's you relating. And I also know it's not your first language. So I was very impressed. I mean, I can't imagine trying to speak a language other than English.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. So, but at any rate, so you're part of a new community. You want to. One of the things that I got from your video was that you've got the thing that you want to do that's helping people. Excuse me. and you want to find your proper ambition. Now, now engineering was kind of something that you dug into and you had a real propensity for, and I think that's awesome, because what that tells me is that you're sharp. It tells me that you understand, how things can work together and how systems can be developed and everything like that, right? So with the power of your mind, I also know from just reading your writing that you have a very powerful mind as well. And when someone with that powerful a mind wants to help other people, that's an incredible combination, because now you're going to use that power you have to serve the world around you in whatever possible way you can. And I think Ryan was touching on some really, really important points there. Um, we live in a world where division is rampant. They're always trying to divide us. There's always trying to be, division from, like Ryan was saying, religion and, politics and families and, different personal preferences. They're always trying to divide us into groups and then put those groups at odds with each other. And who are they to do something like that? I think it's probably just members of these communities, and we indulge ourselves a little bit in our own pride, and we start to think, hey, the way I think is better than the other way to think, and so then that leads to a division, and then you find people like that who are divisive that end up having a loud voice or a presence somewhere that they can reach a lot of people, and that division just gets deeper, and it's really sad when you think about divisions. I mean, I look at you, Akil, you're Muslim. Ryan and I are Catholic, and there are many people who would think we should not get along with each other. But we both know that we're people. It's like, wait a second, we're all people, regardless. I mean, so we come from different belief systems. Who cares? Why don't we find our points of commonality? Why don't we find the points where we can agree? And why don't we also seek to understand rather than just spout out how I'm right and someone else is wrong? I mean, when you really get a heart for helping other people, you start to naturally you start to try to understand them more. You ask questions not because you're trying to find a flaw in their thought process, but because you're trying to understand them. You're really trying to understand what makes them tick, where they come from, and their point of view. And that's a powerful thing to do, because when you can sit and listen to people, let them talk, and let them know that you are going to love them no matter what. You're going to love them no matter what comes out of their mouth, whether they say something, that whatever their belief system is, that you're going to love them. That's a tremendous friendship that's starting right there, or continuing. It became very, very obvious to me with a friend of mine I was in a band with. I think I've mentioned this before on Don't Worry Wednesday. But I had this friend, and we would always sit in a hot tub together after we'd have band practice, and we come from very, very opposite ends politically. Like, I'm fairly conservative, he's fairly liberal, and so, like, when we would talk and we would have these conversations, but we recognized that our friendship was more important than our political disagreements. And so with that understanding, we were able to just have these conversations that got fairly, passionate from time to time, but it didn't matter. You know what I found out? I found out that we really pretty much want the same things. As people, we're after the same things. We want a future. We want, our families to be taken care of. We want the chance to take care of them. We want peace. We want to raise our children in a peaceful environment. We want, like, a lot of these things are universal. We want to have access to food, and we want to have, an existence that's peaceful and filled with love. And it was very, very interesting to see, okay, we have the same end goal that we want. We want the ability to chase after dreams. We want the ability for our kids to be able to chase after dreams, like, and all along the way. But we just had different perspectives on how to get to that, right? And through our conversations, we both started to move towards the middle and say, oh, I understand where you're coming from on that. I understand why you think that way. Once he explained it to me, and I was willing to listen. Is one of the problems with debates, and I remember hearing this one debate between a bunch of Catholics and Protestants, and they were basically just got to the point where they were talking past each other. Nobody was listening to the other person. It was like, dude, you're not even responding to what that person just said. You just have an agenda, and you're like throwing it at them, right?
Yeah, I remember hearing those.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was crazy. So, yeah, but when you come on the scene, Akil, you're part of the VTubing community. That's what it's called, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
VTubing? Okay. I am not familiar with that at all, so I don't know much about it. Which is the definition of being unfamiliar with it.
Really? Tell me more. What's the definition of the in that sentence? Okay, anyways.
Yeah. So, but at any rate, here you are. You want to help people. You have ambitions. You want to find your proper ambition. I think the fact that you want to help people is so important. I can't stress that enough. And also, with the technology we have, and with the crazy times we're in right now, I want everybody to hear this, that this is a time, like Ryan was talking about, this is a time we're in uncharted waters. We've never experienced a time quite like this before. And things are getting shaken up, right? Our lives are going to be changed forever as a result of this time we're living through right now. But keep your eyes open, because it's a time when times like this happen, it's great opportunity. If you spend a lot of time watching the news or watching, popular media, or getting involved in the popular train of thought, you're going to think now's the time to just hunker down and sit still and don't do anything and just wait for the dust to settle to go out and start doing something. There's so much we can do right from home. Here we are. We're quarantined.
Mm-hmm.
It's the perfect time to get in shape. It's the perfect time to write a book. Perfect time to read a book. Perfect time to write some music, produce an album, start a YouTube channel. It's perfect time to do all this kind of stuff. This now is such a great time to do that. And any way that you can adjust to the new way that we're going to be involved in community, which is right here online. We're going to be online in chats. We're going to be on Zoom calls. Zoom was already a pretty decently sized company before, but then when all this hit, they just exploded, because now everybody's using Zoom. We're using Zoom right now to do this, right? But this is the way things are going to be. I had a phone conversation with a gal. I had to call the health insurance company. She was working from home. It was great. We had a great conversation. She was like dragging her dog out of the trash to talk. kept getting in the trash, and she's like trying to tell me about all this insurance stuff, and she's like, "Get out of there!" I'm like, what? so our real lives are just getting like intermingled now, and it's really
That's
cool.
funny.
Like, yeah, it was fun. But yeah, so pay attention. Right now is a time of great opportunity, unprecedented opportunity for people who embrace the way that this is going to be, which, you know, we're moving online. We're moving to digital communication more and more and more. It was already happening before, but now we just got a turbo boost thrown on there. And you all are here. Now it's time, hey, start up something of your own. Do something. You can do something great. Every single one of you, you are no exception to that, Akil. You already have the right mindset. You already have the right heart for other people. You can take that and pour it out into the world through whatever channels you can find. And I'm so proud of you. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Ryan.
Yeah. One thing that Akil said that was cool. Let's see if I can find it. I have a lot of respect for this comment, so I'm gonna try to find it. Okay. Akil says, engineering was me trying to play my strengths of not working with humans. Public administration is me acknowledging my weaknesses to face it. Dude, that's awesome. Okay, let me tell you something. People who can look at their weaknesses and identify them and take an action going towards them, that is the sign of a great successful person. Like, if you look at sports, if you look at gaming online, right? It's those people who have obvious weaknesses and they take those and they're like, how do I fix this? They play a game and they watch the replay and they go, oh, this is where I messed this up. Oh, I need to get better at that. Let me practice that. Then they get really good and then they become professional players, right? And the same thing in real life outside of video gaming, where you look at your problems and you go, I'm going to lean into that weakness. I'm going to lean in. Because here's the brilliance of that. One, our greatest weaknesses are our greatest strengths. For multiple reasons. One reason is because where we are weak, God is strong. Okay? Otherwise, if we're just playing our strengths, we don't have to pray to God for that. We're not like, oh, God, please help me. You know? Instead, we're just like, oh, I got this. I'm the best in the world at this. This is easy. Two, when we play to our weaknesses, we force ourselves to grow. We force ourselves in an uncomfortable environment, and we challenge ourselves. And through that challenge, that's where we grow. That's where we become strong. Not just strong in that field, but strong in every field. Because we're showing we've got the mettle, and we're creating discipline within ourselves, and we're creating virtues within ourselves by going to those weaknesses and facing them head on, even if we don't ever get good at them. All right? So I think that is a brilliant move. Is it the best move? No one can say. You might be able to play to both ends. And what I mean is, if you've got the mind that you like to be alone, and you can do a lot of great work alone, right? There have been a lot of people in history that have been fantastic at that. I mean, one person that we talked about on the stream recently quite a bit, Thomas Edison.
Mm-hmm.
Created the lightning bolt, created the light bulb. I almost said lightning bolt instead of light bulb.
We call him Zeus.
Yeah, we used to call him Zeus,
Edison.
but he's Zeus reincarnate. Thomas Edison.
That's
All right,
great.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to spoil that, but well, it's not too late to forget I ever said that. So, anyways, Thomas Edison, right? He created the light bulb. Did he do that with a team of people, or did he do that by himself? The answer is he did it by himself. He sat there in a room working off of other people's materials, yes. Using materials that other people have made, yes. In cooperation of all the sciences and maths that he'd learned from other people in the past. But ultimately, he was in a room by himself, figuring it out, creating and engineering the light bulb. Or the lightning bolt, if he's Zeus.
The lightning bolt. Or the lightning bug.
And then, here's the second thing that's incredible about Thomas Edison. A lot of people despise him for this, but it's part of what makes him so successful. He took that product, the light bulb, and he went out to the people and sold it. He established good relations with a lot of people and a lot of well-known people. And he used those avenues and navigated through them to sell that product. He created franchises. Did you know that light bulb, like the way that light bulbs used to work, are completely different than they do now? Do you know they used to? Okay, this is completely weird. They used to ship light bulbs to your houses. When light bulbs first, when they do it again now. When light bulbs first came out, the process in which they sold them to people was like one of the marketing strategies. I believe I've got this information correct. This is something my grandma told me, who was alive when light bulbs were like first starting to be really sold.
I was.
Oh, okay. So, that wasn't a question; it was a statement about her. Sorry. Or sorry, I think her great grandma or her mom. Her mom was alive at least, and she learned this from her mom, or she actually experienced it herself, and I don't know which. But either way, when the light bulb was first being established, he created new forms of market and business that never existed before, just to get that light bulb in everybody's houses. He went and he started creating these systems where people would have light bulbs shipped to their houses. And here's the thing, you paid in monthly to get a light bulb shipped to your house. He created one of the very first ideas of subscription. This was before newsletters and stuff like that. I mean, you could subscribe to a newspaper, basically. That was the only thing.
Before Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah, $4 Shave Club. I mean, before shavers. We're talking about light bulbs, man. Which most of you shavers have in them. Okay. Right. He did that by talking to people. Now, you might think maybe he just didn't have that weakness there, right? Maybe he did. I don't know. I don't know where his weaknesses were. But I can tell you that if you are, yes, Nikola Tesla was a brilliant mind. Absolutely. You know the main thing that set him apart from Thomas Edison? Because they're both creating incredible inventions at the same time. They both created different forms of electric currents. And Nikola Tesla's was arguably better. In fact, a lot of people wouldn't even argue it. They'd just be like, Nikola Tesla's was way better. Do you know why Thomas Edison got the head on Nikola Tesla? Marketing. He went out and talked to people. Nikola Tesla stayed in his house all day. And he didn't want to talk to anybody. People had to go to him and talk to him. He had a few friends. Thomas Edison went out and met the world. He made himself public. He put himself on the line. He allowed people to ridicule him. And whose invention do we use more? The person who is a people person, even if he wasn't. He put himself on the line to do that. And so that's why I say I respect you a lot, because you might be more of an engineer at heart. You might be the kind of person that can sit in a room and create some great stuff. You can come up with incredible stories. You have a powerful mind for that. And being alone is part of what makes you, like, being alone is sometimes where you do your best work. But the fact that you want to get out and talk with people, to inspire people, to change their lives, that's even if you feel like that's your weakness, that becomes your greatest strength. Honestly. So I just want to say, like, that's why I respect that comment, because the fact that you want to get out there and you want to help people, even though you feel like that's your weakness, the fact that you want to do that is one of your biggest strengths you'll ever have in your entire life. And so I encourage you to keep that up. I don't know where your path is going to head, but I hope that gives you some direction to start thinking about, what do I want to do? Because, right now, maybe you're in this position where you're like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't know what I have nowhere to go. I don't know what direction I want to run in. Nothing inspires me. Nothing makes me filled with passion. Like, oh yeah, I want to do that. That's okay. But let me tell you something. You know how you start to have that feeling again? You start dreaming. You start dreaming up dreams. You start going, hey, what if I did this, or what if I did that? When you start playing dreams, and now Joe is one of the best people in the world for this, so I hope he can talk about this. When you start daydreaming about different things, about what can affect people's lives, and how you can get out there and do something. When you start daydreaming about the day that you accomplish that, and you're like, man, it's going to be like this. When you start daydreaming about maybe your future life, what your future house is going to be like. When you start daydreaming, that's when your brain gets to work on figuring out and realizing what makes you passionate. If you don't spend any time dreaming, you're not exercising the muscles that creates that passionate drive. It's through study of something, it's through familiarity, that we become wonder bound. Okay, when we start to dig into something, right, and we're like, oh, what is this? And then we start to learn more information about it, and we go, oh, but I wonder if this, I wonder if that, I wonder what, then our brain starts to get excited. We're like, oh, that would be really cool if we could do this and that, right? And then we can learn more and more about it, right? But if we stop learning, if we stop that process of wonder, we cut off the head of that passion. You have to continue to feel that passion in your brain with curiosity, wondering, where could I take this? What's next? Wait, if this means that, then what does that mean? Let's study this area, just find out more about how this whole thing works. When we continue to do that, we continue to surge. Now, see, some things have limits, and we feel like we come to know everything. But there are other things in life that have no limits. There's a lot of times that those are where we end up driving, because this world is rather limitless, to be honest. I mean, if you play a video game, you're going to come to a point where you know everything about the video game, and it becomes boring. But if you play the real world, right, the real life, this game is this is infinite. It's endless. There's so many possibilities, so much to take. We don't even know everything, and people who think they do are. No one actually does. Everyone knows they don't know everything. Mm-hmm. No one knows everything about even one subject. So I hope you can do that. Start daydreaming. I'm going to give it over to Joe. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. But Joe, besides that, do you have anything else you want to talk about? I'm going to open it back up to you. And I realize we've been on the topic for a while, so I apologize, Princess.
Yes. So the thing about dreaming I love what Ryan was talking about. I'm just going to give a few specifics because yeah, we have been on this topic for a while, but I do think that's a very, very important thing to think about is how do you dream? How do you dream about the future? How do you visualize? And I encourage you really to take the time to get all of your senses involved. That's so important. We've talked before about how if you vividly imagine something, your brain treats it the same way as if it would treat an actual real memory. If you get all your senses, you know, touch, smell, taste, sight, I feel like the 5 Ds of dodgeball coming. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Didn't you say dodge twice? You're gonna get a wrench in your face if you say that.
Right, exactly. But anyway, but get all the senses involved, all of them. And we're big on 3-step processes here. I have a 3-step process for my visualization, and it really only takes a few minutes. When I visualize a goal, I have a goal written down, right? And I look at it every day. I have it posted on my wall. Boom, there it is, staring me in the face every day. And I look at it. And when I look at that, I have a few things up there. You know, I've got the goal. I've got some of the things it's going to take to get there, some of the steps along the way written down, and some of the people that it's going to affect. So there's 3 things that I ask myself. One, I ask, what's going to feel so great about hitting that? Like when I get there, what about it is going to feel so great? And then I imagine that life. I imagine what it's going to feel like to live the lifestyle after I've hit that. And I imagine what my day is going to be like. I imagine then, so that's step number 1. What's going to feel so good about it? Why is it important for you to hit that? That's really what you're asking. What's going to feel so good? What's going to be great about it? And then spend some time thinking about that. It doesn't have to be a long time, but spend a little bit of time thinking about that. Next question is, how's it going to affect the people around me when I hit that? How's it going to affect my wife? How's it going to affect my kids? How's it going to affect my colleagues at Black Static and Swerve? How's it going to affect, you know, my clients in the inspections world? How's it going to affect, you know, my extended family? I think about that. How's it going to affect the people around me? And then the third step, if you've been on Double Cup of Joe show, you know step number 3. It's always the action step. What am I going to do immediately? If not right now, but what can I do right now? Whether it's because I'm looking at this like when I get up and when I go to bed. So when I'm going to bed, I'm going to be going to bed. Like I'm not going to be doing anything more, right?
What I'm going to do right now, develop that. I'm going to recharge.
But I write it down for the next day of what I'm going to do, you know, so I have specific actions to take in order to move that forward, move towards that goal. So, you know, much like the 3-step process we do in the morning with Double Cup of Joe is, what are you thankful for? What are you looking forward to? And then what are you going to do today to make your life better? This one, I'm looking at my goal, I'm envisioning it, and I'm like, okay, what is going to feel so great about that? First of all. Second, how's it going to affect the people around me? And third, what am I going to do today or tomorrow, since I'm going to bed, right? But what am I going to do in order to move towards that? And when I do that, I can't tell you how exciting it is to go through that process and how empowering it can be. Because when you're scared of doing something, like when you're nervous about doing a YouTube video or you're nervous about whatever task there is at hand, to take the time to dream and to understand how powerful your goals are, it drives you into those things that you might be scared of, and you're scared to do it, but you do it anyway, because now you've tipped the balance of the scales. You've got all these fears over here, and now all of a sudden you've done this dreaming exercise, and now your goals and dreams are, they're bigger. Like now you can hop over those fears like easily. And I swear, most of my life is trying to get myself over what I'm afraid to do, or what I don't feel like doing, or what I'd rather be doing something else. It's always that way. And so it's almost like the world knows, like we know deep down what we need to do in order to succeed. And we automatically don't want to do it. At least that's the way it is for me. I want the success, but I don't want to do the things that are necessary to get there. So I have to play this game with myself. I have to visualize my future. I have to like actually think about how it's going to affect me, how it's going to affect the people around me, and then break it down into something simple that I can do right now. Not something that I can do 2 weeks from now after I've done some other stuff, but what are the things I can do immediately that can move me in that direction? And that is such an empowering thing to do. I would encourage you to try that, and see what happens to you. You might be surprised.
Yeah.
But with that, Ryan, did you have anything else on this?
No, I think that about covers it. Thank you so much, Akil, for the topic. We appreciate you. You're awesome, and we really are happy to see more of you. We encourage you to keep on moving forward. Everything you do is fantastic. So keep on going, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Love you.
Yep.
So,
and if being on YouTube is one of the things that is gonna take you to your future,
go for it.
Do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not hard. It really isn't that hard to set up your phone or your computer webcam and just record something and then put it up. It's really not that difficult, but we are scared to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the key is always just do it, man. It doesn't matter. And that's the thing. When we started doing Double Cup of Joe show, and we were like, okay, we're going to do this 5 days a week. It's like, oh my gosh, that's kind of a commitment, right? But at the same time, it's beautiful because we don't have to care if any one show is all that great, because we know we're going to be on tomorrow doing it again. We can try again and hopefully make it better the next day. We have a day where we flop. No big deal.
Akil says, I'm going to join BSS one day. Mark my words.
Yeah. You are welcome to.
You better.
Yeah. Your words are marked, Princess says.
Nice.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. You've got the right heart and the right mindset. It's awesome. So anyway, let's move on. We got some other topics. I'm seeing some names. I'm seeing new people that I haven't seen before, and stuff that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, welcome everybody. It's awesome to see you all here. I'm excited.
So I'm gonna go through the names list again, and if you hear your name, just give a quick "What's up with your mom and dad?"
What's up with your mom and dad in chat,
so we know. And yeah. So here's the list: Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Rain Knight, Mark Anthony, Jehoshaphat, Man Left Behind again. I always say him twice. Natsukashi and Kendra. Nice. Marhandi is Man Left Behind. Okay.
Oh, the whole time.
Awesome.
Okay. That means we can knock some off the list here.
Yep. So so you would be earliest in the list. We have one from February 26th from you, Marhandi.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Distinctions. Did you want us to do that one, or did you want us to do your latest one called Foolish?
Yep.
So we will give you the option.
Yep. Marhandi is also JoJo, right?
No, that's Martin.
Oh, that's Martin. Yes, Marhandi is Man Left Behind. Martin is JoJo. And Martin is spelled. The reason I got that confused is because MARTJ.
Yes.
A-N, and this is MARJANDY. So my brain was like, smooshing the two people together, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Marhandy. Marhandy.
So, all right. So, yeah. So, we'll do the latest one. That's the one Marhandy wants us to do. So, awesome. This is going to be called Foolish. See if I can win. I'm going to win.
You can fuse if you want.
Not it.
If you guys want to fuse, go for it. I support the fusations.
I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. Watch.
Oh.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
You did.
Ooh.
I think you did it. Yep, you win.
Yes. Posted the link.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations, Joe. You did it.
Hey, Princess posted it too. Good job. Hey, I'm impressed. All right. So this is by a man left behind called Foolish. You can click the link there and read along. It goes like this.
I shall.
Can you all please help me discern who is a fool? Before I begin, I want to go over what I believe makes a fool. A fool, in the way I want to talk about, isn't necessarily someone who does foolish things frequently. That sounds fun to say 5 times fast. Because we all do foolish things in varying frequencies, which to some are numerous and to others are rare. Nor do I consider those who call themselves fools to be foolish as a fool, because then the word fool would lose much of its meaning. No. What is foolish is those who seem to spew out infinite love and kindness to others and give them all their valuable wisdom as well as the time that they themselves need to invest on themselves, to everyone else in the world but to themselves. Upon themselves, they instead give little or no love for who they are, nor their value to others. I've seen many friends be extremely determined to help out and support each other. They wave away all the nitpicks that other friends would have about themselves and assure them that they are great and that their value as a person isn't in any way deteriorated by them. But then when left to their own devices and not being there to support others, they unabashedly bash themselves over their shortcomings. They torture themselves and believe themselves to be failures for not being the best they could be. Are my friends fools for wanting to be better for others, but also believe others to be great just the way they are? Or am I the fool for looking too much into things and for questioning what everyone else appears to be doing, whilst also doing the same that my friends are? Very profound question.
Absolutely love this.
Yes, this is wonderful. So yeah, wow, thank you very much. And I can't wait to hear what Ryan's going to say. But I do just want to, I got to give you props because you've learned something about life here. That, yeah, a lot of people, they will not pay attention to self-care for the care of others. And in essence, what they're really doing is they're lowering their capacity to help others by not taking care of themselves. There is some degree. I mean, if you really, really want to be the best you can be for other people, you have to take care of yourself. You have to, or else you're going to be doing those you serve a disservice. So anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan because Ryan's like amazingly wise and awesome, and he's producing the show as well as being the star of the show, and he's super good looking, and he's wearing a Criminal Idol shirt. So Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, Marhandy, I have to hand it to you because this, yeah, absolutely. Just like Joe said, this is something that I think a lot of the world struggles with, but it's something a lot of people, even if they notice it, their notice of it is never questioned. Like, people, a lot of times people might notice this as a thing. Like, you try so hard to make other people happy, but you are unhappy yourself. You try so hard to, like, whenever they have they don't like themselves about this area, you do everything possible to show them, like, hey, you know what? You have no reason not to like this area. You do great. And then you turn around and you beat yourself up. Like, what's going on there? I love this because a lot of people just notice that and they drop it. Just like, oh, okay, they're a hypocrite. You shouldn't do that. And then they just move on, right? Now you're making this a question. You're actually making a point to say, let's talk about this. Let's figure it out. How do we move someone beyond this point, right? Um, you know, it's kind of funny because it reminds me slightly of a Bible verse talking about when you notice the splinter in someone else's eye, but you don't notice the plank in your own. Um, I mean, yeah, it's hypocritical to do that, right? To spend so much time trying to help other people, but refusing to help yourself, refusing your own happiness. Now, here's the thing. The reason the world is like this is because of I think one of the reasons the world is like this. There's multiple reasons, but one of them is this. There's a misunderstanding about humility. Now, we've talked about this on the show quite a bit, but humility is understanding the value of others and acting appropriately to that. That includes yourself. A lot of times when people are humble, or they practice humility, what they end up doing is they just put themselves below everybody, and that's not appropriate. You shouldn't put yourself above other people either, but to put yourself below people is called selfless. Now, in this world we live in today, we are taught that it's good to be selfless. Don't be selfish, be selfless. But both of those things are bad. Neither of them are virtues. Because, like we said before, you don't want to be selfless. The virtue is called charity. When you can give, even beyond your means, but you still respect yourself, when you still love yourself, you're still doing for yourself what is good to increase yourself, to maintain yourself, that kind of thing. That's healthy. That's virtuous. That's called charity. And then to be selfless is to stop loving oneself. And by doing that, you end up in the other scenario where you simply just don't love yourself, and therefore not necessarily you hate yourself, but you start to grow to hate yourself. And that's just how it goes, because you're stuck with you wherever you go. You're around you. You are with you all the time. And if you aren't acting kindly towards yourself, you're going to start noticing that and not like yourself. It's just the way it goes. So how do we fix this, right? How do we so we've assessed what the problem is, right? And we know this. We know that people tend to be like, to do everything they possibly can to make another person happy, but they cannot make themselves happy. You said this is just a lack of knowledge. You see good in others and barely see their bad side. On the other hand, remember all the bad things and failures and shortcomings you've made. Absolutely, magician. That is oftentimes what people do. What do we do to fix that? What do we do to fix our relationship with ourselves? I think it's just as Magician Jester said. First, it's about coming to knowledge. So, Mahandi, the best thing you could do in this scenario is not point out the problem to them. First of all. Because a lot of times what I find is when you're trying to help somebody, pointing out the problem doesn't solve the problem. It makes them feel attacked. It makes them close up, seize up, and not want to change. When you start talking about their problems, a lot of times they just recoil and become hard as rock in the heart and push everything away because they don't want to talk. They don't want to address this. They are not secure about this issue, right? And you know they're not secure because, again, you know how they treat themselves. A person who is secure, a person who has an open heart, is not someone who bashes themselves, right? Not someone who nitpicks with themselves. They have to figure out how to forgive themselves, right? But before that, I think what's important is for them to understand. And so what I would do if I were you, Mahandi, is approach them and begin a conversation however you wish. But throughout that conversation, navigate that conversation. Like a lot of times what I do is I open up in a conversation that has nothing to do with the topic I want to get to. So like I just open up the conversation like any other. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, did you look at that picture over there. What do you think? Whatever. Doesn't matter. And then at some point throughout the conversation, even if it's abruptly, just say, hey, I want to talk to you about something I just kind of started thinking about recently. So, like, I think we all have this habit of, like, we go out of our way to help other people, but then we're like, and we do everything to make them happy, right? And they're going to be like, yeah, that's totally me. And then like, on the other side, we don't make ourselves happy. Not because we're trying too hard to help people where we hurt ourselves, but more so that, like, we're just not nice to ourselves. And they're going to be like, yeah, that's me too. Yeah, I'm kind of like that. So if you point in that direction, right, you start to make it aware. You start to make them aware of it, right? And then from there, you start to talk about the ways that you're going to solve it in yourself. Okay? You say things like, yeah, I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to still help other people, but I'm going to treat myself like I treat them. I'm going to try to dismiss my failures because holding on to them is not making me stronger. Holding on to them is making me just hate myself. And yes, these are areas I need to grow, but I don't need to hate myself while I grow. I can just respect that, this is an area I need to work on and start working on it, right? Like, why don't I do that? I should just start doing that. I'm going to do that. Just open conversation, talk about yourself like that. And then start doing it. When they notice you doing it, and they see you live doing it, they're going to get inspired. And they're going to go, I should be doing that too. I'm going to start doing that. I see him doing it, he's doing it, and that's making me excited. I'm going to start doing it too. They're going to follow in your footsteps. Because when you see people excelling at life, you naturally tend to kind of start to feel a little bit more capable yourself, especially if they're your friend, right? And also, by doing that, by acting this out in front of them, what you're going to do is you're going to put a nugget into their minds every time. You're going to put a little piece of information in their mind that's going to play on repeat until you create and you manifest habits in their brain that they didn't put there. So usually we get our habits by practicing something and over. Like when we learn to ride a bike or when we learn to walk, we learn through practice and it becomes so natural that it becomes a habit. Same thing with how we laugh. We actually learn how to laugh and we laugh the same every time, but each person has their own laugh. It's through practice, and sometimes you start to laugh like the person next to you. Or if you hang out with somebody with a different accent, you start to have their accent, right? And that kind of starts to like become a part of you. If you start noticing this in your own life and taking action against it, you're going to rub off on those people that are paying attention. Or whether they're paying attention or not, and they're going to start reproducing that in themselves. But the first step is to make it known what you're doing. Okay? So, do you follow my heart? Does that make sense to you? I hope that makes sense. That's my best advice on this. If you want to help someone else move forward in their life, it's not through giving them advice. It's by talking about the problem and saying, I'm going to see what I can do about this in my own life. Then you get to be an example and carry them on your own adventure. And then together you start to have an adventure with them. And you fuel each other's fire to accomplish this problem that we have in both of our lives, right? And then we just kind of push the walls down. We actually start to succeed. We start to move forward rather than having them come to us for advice and then just not doing it, no matter how many times we tell them. If you take them alongside you and you just start doing it and they participate, they're going to just naturally grow with you. So, that's my best advice for this. I hope that's helpful. There's more that could be said about the topic, but I'm gonna hand it over to Joe, because I'm excited about what he's got to say.
I'm excited what I have to say too. I'm still figuring it out.
Do you want me to? You want to waste some time for you?
No, no, it's fine.
Oh, man, I was about to.
Oh, okay. Please do, actually, please.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a guy named Joe who didn't know what to say, so he moved his hands to and fro, moving faster and faster. The rhythm went on and he said about the sounding ching dong sound, but it got something that's not even English or any other language. All right, so now hopefully you've had enough time to think. And that's a handsome dance, guys. That's the handsome dance. This is the handsome dance.
I have to do this. See, Ryan makes it so much better because he's so much more handsome.
It's only the hair.
Awesome. So, well, Marhandi, I have to agree with everything Ryan said, and I also have to thank you so much for acknowledging.
Thanks, J-Ho.
Oh, the shirt?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about my shirt.
Oh, maybe he's talking about your shirt. Maybe probably not the one that says Criminal Idol on it.
Yeah. Why would anybody want a Criminal Idol shirt?
No, they don't.
They're only.
I obviously, guys, you guys see this in swap view. It doesn't actually say backwards LA, backwards NIM. Like, it's not Lanimerk Lodi. All right. It actually says it the normal way. I just have my camera flipped. Yeah. All right, just so you know.
That.
I'll see if I can fix that for you guys.
You don't need to worry about it.
There you go. There you go. Criminal Idol. There you go. Now I'm all confused about which is up and which is down, but there you go. Okay. Good. Anyways, carry on. Oh wait. Yes. Actually, I think it broke when I did that. Now it's frozen.
Is it really?
Yeah. I think I broke it.
Cool. Let's see.
Let's
see. Oh, frozen.
Yep. It's frozen.
Frozen. What do we do? Oh, it might be coming though. It might be getting here.
Let me see if I can fix it.
We're fixing it.
Let me see.
Boom.
Nope.
Bam.
All right, we're gonna have to close down the stream, guys. I apologize. Bam. This is your fault. And I will not take responsibility.
Oh, okay. So,
well,
hey, something happened.
There's white, and I broke it. I think I would actually have to restart Zoom to make this, or not maybe restart Zoom. Yeah, I'll try restarting Zoom. See if that works. I'm gonna do that.
Okay. Can they still hear us?
Not if I close Zoom. Not if I close Zoom.
And he's back.
There we go. And the video's back too. Perfect.
The video's back?
Yep. There we go. All right. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh my gosh, we made it.
Yep. Okay. Nice dab. Okay. Well, I'm sorry for the distraction. Now, Joe definitely has had time to think about what he wants to say, and he hasn't been distracted with his thought process. That entire 12 minutes that I
at all.
Stopped.
Actually, no distractions whatsoever.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Well, so what are we talking about? Oh yeah, foolishness. You are right. Actually, you know, I have quite a bit of experience with being foolish in this regard. But really, more so, there were short periods of time in my life when I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna live for others. I'm gonna, you know, basically give all I can to serve others, and it sounds really noble, you know, to do that. I know people who, they're like, they'll just do whatever they can to please their parents, or they'll do whatever they can to, uh, for their kids, and their world revolves around their kids, or whatever it revolves around. When you when you totally let yourself go and you say it's for the sake of another person, then what I found is that that's a misguided point of view. Because let's just say I do everything I can for my kids, right? I just do whatever. I stop everything, I drop everything for them, and everything like that. And what happens is my health starts to deteriorate because I'm not exercising and I'm not eating the right foods. I'm just, whatever. I'm not taking the time to prepare foods. I'm just eating whatever's handy, and I'm not exercising. So my health starts to deteriorate. Or my prayer life slips, and so my mental fortitude starts to go down. And so then, no longer am I as strong in the face of adversity, which adversity comes, right? All the time. So basically, the point I'm trying to get at is, if you let yourself go and say it's for other people, then that's misguided. Now, a lot of times I would let myself go and it was for me because I wanted to do things that felt good, or things that I just felt like I wanted to do. And that's misguided too. Because then I'm not even considering other people. I'm just saying, hey, this is what I feel like doing, so this is what I'm going to do. And hey, it's not hurting anybody else, it's just hurting me. So what if I smoke 2 packs a day, or so what if I, get into all these bad habits, or whatever, right? It's like what? Ryan.
I'm just trying to give you more time to think about what you're going to say next.
That's what you're doing. I'm in the middle of talking.
Oh, were you? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't notice that.
Are you okay though?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
You're talking. That's good. So yeah. But here's the point. If I want to be the best I can for my kids, I better be healthy. I better be in shape, because I got 2 boys that are martial artists.
Inhaling coffee.
That's something funny. I thought you were laughing.
I was. I'm laughing at myself about coughing. Okay, sorry.
It's okay. But I remember getting a membership at the YMCA, and I started swimming, and I was talking to one of the lifeguards there, and he was like, what? You seem to be pretty committed. What are you here so often for? I was like, well, because I got 2 boys and they keep me really busy. They got a lot of energy, and I got to somehow keep up with all that, And also I got to work so I can make money, so I can provide for them, all kinds of things. There's all kinds of stuff that we do for ourselves that also serves other people. And one of those things is, being the best we can be. And that always takes some form of discipline, whether it's discipline in your thinking, whether it's discipline in your self-improvement, self-development, maybe reading good books, maybe listening to good podcasts, maybe, whatever, stuff that's encouraging and empowering. So you always have that positive mindset. That way you can be the light. What was it? Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. That goes right along with what Ryan was saying. It's like, be the example. If you want to, I can tell people all day long what the right thing to do is. But if I'm not doing it, then, people pick up on that. Like with you guys, it's a little bit different because you don't see me in my day-to-day life, right? But all the stuff that I talk about here, I try to live it to the best of my ability. Now, I'm not perfect, nobody is, but anything that I promote here, I try to live that. I don't want to, because I don't feel like I really have much of a leg to stand on if I'm just saying things and then not applying it in my own life, right? And plus, this show is public, so anybody could be watching it. So my kids could like take a look at some of the things I said. I think it would bore them right now because they're a little young right now. So because I'm not playing Minecraft and
Yeah.
talking really loudly, it's not as entertaining. but but we have talked. My oldest son wants to do a YouTube channel with me. My youngest son also. He's not quite as interested in it yet, but my oldest son for sure. He's like, yeah, man, I want it just to be you and me. We can be like a father and son show, and it'd be really, really cool. And I'm like, that's awesome.
That is
I hope
awesome.
you still think that when you're like 15, which probably not. You probably want to keep me at arm's length, but maybe not. We'll find out. But at any rate, I think it was there was I think a Buddhist monk. I believe it was a monk who this mother brought her kid to see this monk, right? To talk to him, and he wanted she wanted the monk to talk to her son about fixing a certain bad habit, about I don't remember what it is. Let's just say it's eating your vegetables, whatever, right? So she wanted this monk to give her son this advice, and he's like, okay, come back in 30 days. She's like, okay. So they left. They came back in 30 days. And she said, okay, can you tell my son to, do this, to eat his vegetables? And the monk said, okay, eat your vegetables. And then the lady was like, why did you make us wait 30 days? Why did you just say it? You just said it, just like I said it. Like, what was the big deal? And he said, because at that time, I was not embodying that habit. So I couldn't say that to this kid because I wasn't living it. And so that's why I really, really appreciate a lot of things Ryan was saying, because how important is it to be the example, to show people how to live, to show people how to take care of themselves? Because if we're just it's very interesting. There's a lot of different ways I can take this. My brain's starting to split into two different directions now, and I'm trying to pick which one to go. So along with being an example, I want to talk on like leadership. Sometimes we think we're being a leader by being a servant, and that's true. We do need to serve others in order to lead. We need to think of others. We need to do what we can to help them in order to be a leader. But I would always hear this rhetoric from people. It got really popular around the staff at my kids' school for a while, where it was like, hey, be a leader, not a follower. I'm a leader, I'm not a follower. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, all you're doing is you're teaching these kids that I'm going to do whatever I want because I'm a leader. I'm not a follower. I do my own thing. And it's like, you are setting up anarchy for yourself in the classroom because they're going to follow what you do. And if your version of leadership is, I do whatever I feel like, everybody that you have influence with, they're going to model that. They're going to do whatever they feel like. And you're not going to be an effective leader because everybody's just going to be doing whatever they feel like, whether it's right or wrong. And that's not good. So the key is, Ryan has touched on this in so many different episodes. You're probably tired of hearing about it. But if you can learn to pursue virtue in your life, you automatically become a source of good energy for the people around you. You automatically become good for them. You do the best thing you possibly can for those around you. by pursuing virtue, a virtuous life in yourself. Because what you're doing is you're showing them a path that's going to lead them to happiness. You're showing them a path that's going to lead them to fulfillment. And it's going to lead you to fulfillment too. You will feel enlightened. You will feel at peace. And you'll bring a whole bunch of people along with you. So you're absolutely right to let yourself go and saying it's for the sake of others. That's a misconstrued thought. That's a truth that's been twisted. Because while it's true, we need to serve others. That's part of the reason we're here, is to help other people, to serve them, to make others' lives better. To totally let ourselves go and say it's for the sake of them, all we're doing is we're making ourselves less effective in helping them. And so we're doing them a disservice. I think about that all the time. If I'm not the best I can be, I'm doing all of you a disservice. I'm doing my kids a disservice. If I don't show them a proper work ethic, I'm doing them a disservice. If I don't show them what it's like, to live an honorable life, to treat people with respect, to treat them with respect. And not to just be like this big lorded over them parent guy who's just like, I'm the boss. No, I want to treat them with respect, because that shows them how to treat others with respect, including me. How can I demand their respect if they don't see my example of respect? Right? If I don't have respect for anybody else but myself, then what are they going to do? They're going to disrespect everybody else but themselves, because that's what they see. The truth of the matter is, people can't hear what you say because they're too busy watching what you do. And your actions speak so much more loudly than anything you could ever say. And I hope that I continue to remember that for the rest of my life, and especially while I'm here, talking to you guys. I always want to, I can't say it enough. I can't really say anything unless I'm living it. And so I promise to you guys that I will do my best to live that way. And I hope that makes sense. But anyway, Ryan, what else you got?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. One of the things that you talked about is that I find is extremely important is if you're going out and you're trying to help people, but you don't help yourself, or rather, you're going out and trying to make everybody happy, but you refuse to be happy yourself. You refuse to like yourself. You love everybody but yourself, essentially. You're doing a huge disservice to them.
Mm-hmm.
It is the absolute truth. Because here's the thing. Until you go through the process of figuring stuff out and learning how to better yourself, your advice to help other people better themselves is going to be not helpful. Because you haven't gone through it. If you're still struggling with somebody, or if you're inside and you're still struggling with something, right? Your ability to help somebody else that's struggling with that same thing is not going to be as good as someone who's struggled with that and overcome it. The only thing you can do in that situation is saying, hey, we're both in the same place, and since we're both in the same place, let's try to figure out how to get through this together. But if you refuse to get through it yourself, and you're just rooting them on, your words aren't going to be very effective, right? And lastly, when you do that, when you, like Joe was giving an example with his kids, right? If he tries to if he throws his own life away, it's one thing to give yourself for a friend to aid them. That is good. It's good to make sacrifice. This is good. It's a holy thing. It's a beautiful thing to make sacrifice for the ones you love.
Mhm.
But you can do that and love yourself at the same time. If you choose not to love yourself and just kind of like refuse to think about that, refuse to figure that out and start working on it, and you go off and you help your children, right? What you end up doing is you teach your children that they get to boss you around. Because you're putting them ahead of your schedule. So I've seen this with a lot of parents. They're like in the middle of cooking dinner, or they're in the middle of they're on their phone with somebody and it's an important call, or maybe it's just a regular call, it's not important, it's just with a friend, right? And their kid comes up to them and they drop everything they're doing and they're just saying, "Hey, what do you need?" That's not evil to do that. Don't get me wrong. But it does teach your kid that they're more important than you. It teaches their kid that they're more important than the other person you had on the phone. And it teaches your kid that they're more important than anything. And what that does is it makes them not respect you. And what that does to your friends when you do it to your friends is it makes your friends not respect you. When someone has the virtue to stand up for what's right, when someone has the strength to go and do what's right, regardless of the pain they incur, that's a beautiful thing. When someone is trying to do that in order to make their own life better by growing themselves and setting that example, we naturally respect that person. We respect the person who gives sacrifice. We respect the person who sacrifices things for other people, who does take time out of their day to help somebody and things like that. But there's a fine line when it's no longer a sacrifice and it's just it's selflessness. We're going to call it that. There's a difference between selflessness and sacrifice. There's a difference between charity and sacrifice, right? Or sorry, charity and selflessness, like we talked before. So, Marhandi, if you want to help the people that you notice are doing this, the best thing you can do is relay these things we just talked about to them. But don't relay them in a way it's like, hey, you've got this problem and you need to figure it out. You relay in a conversation where you're talking about it as if it's a thing other people have. You talk about it as if it's a thing that you have and you're going to start working on. One last pitfall that a lot of people fall into, a lot of the reason you see people doing this is this. Marhandi, this is probably the top reason. And I hope you get this through your head and it makes a lot of sense. The main reason people fall into the trap of helping everybody else around them but themselves, they bash on themselves, they hate themselves inside, but they act like they love everybody else. The main reason people fall into that trap is usually because when they're little, at some point in time, they experience joy in helping somebody else. And then they figure out and they believe that by helping other people feel happy, they're going to feel happy themselves. So they live their whole lives trying to make everyone around them happy. But the truth is, the only reason they're trying to make other people happy is because they think it's going to make them happy. Does that make sense? It sounds really selfish when you spin it that way, right? And the truth is, it is. Why do I know this? We talked about this maybe 1 or 2 episodes of Don't Worry Wednesday ago. But we have this, when we don't like ourselves, right? When we're mean to ourselves, when we point out our flaws, we are inconfident in ourselves, right? We look at ourselves, we're focused on ourselves, and we're really negative about it. So we go out into the world and we try to find happiness there because we can't find it from within. And so we help other people thinking that's what's going to make us happy. And so in actuality, we're only helping them because we want happiness in ourselves and we can't find it. And so we've trained ourselves to go, oh no, you're okay, you're fine, I love you. And then we hope that they'll make us happy some way because we don't like ourselves. We hope that they like us because we can't. The only way to get that to end is to start liking ourselves, to start treating ourselves with respect, with dignity. We're human beings. We're incredibly valuable. We're just as valuable as anybody else we could offer help to. We're beautiful. We have gifts to offer, right? But when we look at ourselves and we don't focus on the issues, right? Or rather, when we don't have to look at ourselves, and that's really what it is, right? When we are confident enough in ourselves where we don't have to even think about ourselves, we know we're fine, and then we go out and help people, it's completely different. Because then when we help people, we're actually focused on them. When we help people, we're not worried about our own issues, what we've got going on inside, because we know that's under control. We know at the end of the day, it's going to be fine. I'm working through it. It's going to be okay. Really, I'm here for you. It's completely different. When you get into a relationship, like a romantic relationship, if you don't love yourself, let me tell you what happens. You go up to your girl or your man and you're like, hey, I love you. And they go, okay. And your heart goes, and you die. Like, you literally, it's like, you just like, the fact that they didn't tell you they loved you back hurts so much. And then you realize something. You realize the only reason you've been telling them you love them is to hear them say it back. That's not love. That's just you trying to get something out of a relationship. When someone respects themselves and loves themselves enough to tell someone, hey, I love you, and they don't care what the response is, even if they don't say it, it doesn't hurt. Because the whole point of me saying I love you is to make you feel loved. That's why I say it. I don't say it because I want to feel loved back. I don't say it because I want to hear that response. I only say it because I want to give you that love. Because I want you to feel that. When someone doesn't love themselves and they go, like, I remember I went through this myself. That is how I learned. I went through that. I told someone I loved them and they didn't say it back, and I was like, ouch. And they stopped saying it back altogether, and I'm like, this hurts. Why does this hurt? And then I realized, why am I fishing for it? Because I don't like myself. And I was leaning on them. They were my crutch. They were the only reason that I thought I could like myself, because they liked me. And I was like, that's so backwards. That's not love. That's me fishing for self-respect from them and giving that control to them, and that's totally not, they don't deserve that. So talk about this kind of stuff with them, right, Marhandi? Talk about this kind of stuff, because the more they come to understand it, the more likely they're going to start taking action to fix it, to get on top of it, because you don't want anyone going down that path. It sucks. When you don't love yourself, when you hate yourself, it sucks. It just sucks. It's not a good feeling. And you don't help people like you think you are, because you haven't done enough work yourself to start liking yourself, you know? How are you going to make other people like themselves when you don't even like yourself? You can't. That's a problem that you haven't figured out yet, and you're trying to fix it in other people. That's like looking at something and be like, I don't know how this machine works, but I'm going to tell you how to fix yours. Doesn't make sense. You don't know how it works. So you got to start from inside. You got to start there. And maybe, Marhand, you've already got this figured out, but now it's your time to show them. Be a living example of it. That's all you can do. Anyways, I know we've talked on this one for quite a while as well, but yeah, Joe, do you got anything you want to follow that up with?
No, that was beautiful, because that's so true. I've been caught in that trap. You've been caught in that trap. It's it's a trap,
Mm-hmm.
to say the least. But yeah, um, that was very very well said. So
Thanks.
I don't think I can add anything to that. Plus, if we want to do a topic, well, we are at 2 hours. We're at the 2 hour point already.
Yeah. Yeah, we carried on for a while. Both of the
Oh my
topics.
gosh,
They're good topics.
they are. Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, guys.
they were. No, that's okay. That's okay. So, but all right. Well, in the essence of being timely, I think I would not want to start another topic, because then we're gonna be here for another hour probably, because these topics are, we're following this trend of having awesome topics.
Yeah.
Um,
Guys, stop having good things to talk about, please, so that we can cut these shorter. Make them really bland and easy, like, I like spaghetti, but my mom's made too much spaghetti. What do I do? That would be really nice. Topics that are really easy for us to handle. No, I'm just kidding. We love that. We love all of the topics.
Yep. Princess just sent us a private message. That's on you guys. Yes, it
It
is.
sure
But you know
is.
what? Hey, I just have to say,
I think I talked for like way too much, but oh well.
you, I'm looking at the parts where I talked and the parts where you talked, and they're they're about the same.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they were pretty close. They're pretty close.
Yeah. So, but anyway, you guys are awesome. I've been watching what's going on in the chat while Ryan's talking, and it's been very active. You guys are here. You're talking to each other. You're helping each other out. There's so much positive energy going on in there, and I am just so impressed with all of you guys. And it makes me, it's so humbling to be a part of this community. Ryan and I are the ones on screen here, but it's like really, you guys are what this is all about.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And it's so humbling to be a part of this group, because you guys are so amazing. I was watching you guys, and I've seeing new names I haven't seen before, seeing names that I haven't seen in forever, and I was like, man, how cool is this? Getting reconnected with some of you guys and connecting with some new folks.
Yeah, we're so
Um,
honored that we get to actually spend time with real human beings like you guys who are full of wisdom yourself. It's really cool to be able to talk to you. You guys have even when the chat is talking about something that's just funny, it's enjoyable to be around you guys. It's awesome.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful. Yes, you are a real human being.
I'm a real human being. When did this
Yes.
happen? I don't remember that.
Thanks, Senna. Senna apparently said that Don't Worry Wednesday is going to be on Thursdays now.
What?
Uh, it's Wednesday, Monday, Friday.
Yes, thank you.
She said, like, we're going to have to skip our conference call.
Well, we need to do that Theology Thursday throwdown.
We totally do. We totally do. It's going to be you and your brother, because then it'll be entertaining. They fight with each other about theology, and each one of you can get the last word, and it can go on forever.
I don't think we'd be fighting too much.
Yeah, you guys
but-
probably agree on most of that
Yeah, we
stuff.
would agree on pretty much everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But at any rate, it sure would be fun.
yeah, it would be.
But anyway, you guys are so cool, and thanks for being here. We're gonna be back on Friday to do this all over again. So if we didn't get to your topic, maybe we can get to it on Friday. So come on back. And then also you can come back tomorrow morning. If you're subscribed to this channel and you hit the notification bell, you will get a notification tomorrow morning at about 6:30 in the morning that we're going to be going on in 30 minutes, I think is how it works now. Yeah, Double Cup of Joe show is on at 7 o'clock. Me and Joe Bohan, we will be on here talking about perseverance. It's Action Week. And today we talked about roadblocks. Tomorrow we're talking about perseverance. So to stick it out until the very bitter end and be a finisher. and it's going to be a fun topic. So you guys should join us. We have a lot of fun. Ryan's been there. He has a good time with us too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, come on over. We'd love to have you. And with that, we'll see you next time we see you. You guys are amazing. Love you guys a lot.
Peace.
Thanks for bearing with us on our technical issues.
Yeah. It's going to be weird because I have to press the button to close it down, but...
You do have to press the button. You'll probably press the button and then you'll press it again and bring us back and do all kinds of shenanigans. And you're, you know, not that you would ever do something like that, ever.
I would never do that. That would be
probably
weird.
Never,
I feel like someone like me would do that and has done that before in the past, but it certainly wasn't me.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, and you'd never cut me off like Joe does, and you'd never start me early like Joe does.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do this in the most respectful way possible. I've got my mouse over the stop streaming button, but I haven't pressed it yet. I want to make sure that you're fully prepared for me pressing it. Yeah. So you just tell me when to press that button. All right, see you guys.
Shenanigans, 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 shenanigans.